So, greetings everyone. We've just been watching Pepe's stream where he's been going through 50 of the puzzles um, on chessvariance.training from positions in Season 5 of the Crazyhouse League. And we have 30 of those puzzles still to go. And some of these puzzles really do get quite difficult. And it's obviously getting very late in Europe now. It's 2 a.m. in Spain, 1 a.m. in the UK. So if you don't already know, there's the Crazyhouse blog, zhchess.blogspot.com, where you can read more about this league. And I just posted up this blog this week about the league, giving you all of the links. It's season 5. It's the second team league, and I gave you a few positions from one game in particular, which I thought was very interesting. But I'll close that down now. We're going to look at some puzzles on ZH on chessvariance.training, which is an offshoot of Lichess. And after you look at a puzzle, you can actually press the analysis board, and it takes you to Lichess and turn the engine off. And this is the puzzle we just saw at the end of Pepe's stream, where the solution was Queen A5 check. And the point is that this bishop and this bishop cutting off the king, and the pawn's cutting off the king. The king is actually in a bit of a box here. So, and if the king were to go here, we just come in with checkmate. So the king has to go there. Pawn here, check, takes, and we actually sack our queen for a knight. And remember, the king is still in a box. And if he goes back, then we can throw in another check. And finally, he comes to this light square, and so we can put our knight either here or here, and it'll be checkmate. So knight here is checkmate. It's a very small board, so that's why. And also, I have a big mouse, so it's a combination of things. Okay, so so yeah, hi there PKR, hi there IamNobody really, and hi there OJ. So let's go on to. So we've done the first 50 puzzles. Let's go on to puzzle 50. So hopefully it all looks good on your screen. Hi there, catask. So we're into the last 30 puzzles, and they're going to get tougher and tougher. That's not completely linear in how tougher they get, but in general they're getting a lot tougher. Yeah, so this is quite a tough one. Now what we were doing during Pepe's stream, and I was actually keeping count, is we're keeping a score. And so yeah, I'd encourage. And at the beginning we were saying, tough guys shouldn't join in because we wanted to give everyone a chance, but the last 30 puzzles are tough, and Risai 8000 is on 17 points. And although it's not the number of points that counts, it's participation that counts for this. I'd encourage strong guys also to jump in and try and catch Risai on 17. But hopefully, yeah, let's do it in such a way that everyone can enjoy it. So IamNobody says mate is on the other side. Don't need the first rank. Oh, so is there a problem with that? Okay, that's annoying. So how to fix this? Sorry about that. I don't know why it changed. Interesting. So hopefully it looks good now. And just to give a recap of the point situation, so Safely is on. So Risai is on 17 points, Safely on 13 points, Sefa is on 5 points, BobbyFischer on 4 points, Joanna also on 4 points, oktested on 2 points, and timoru on 1 point, and nobody, we're not sure, because not sure if he's participating or not, but he's definitely solved some which others couldn't. He solved the ones which nobody could solve, which is a kind of pun in itself. Okay, so this is quite a tough one. So we could re-begin competition. And hi there, catask 8. So it's all looking good now, hopefully, on the screen, I'm assuming. And Sefa says, I didn't hear the first point. well, the main point of this is we're trying to get people to participate. Yeah, the thing about this website is it does insist on fastest mates, so that does make things a little bit harder. And yeah. So as nobody says, it's pretty obvious, right? That nobody solved the puzzles that nobody could solve. So, there's a word for that. It's a truism. There's another word for it. So Sefa says knight f6, g takes knight g7, maybe, king f8. And Risa is thinking of queen e7, just throwing away our queen. Which would be great. If we had a second queen, then that would definitely be a good idea. Tautology, that's the word for it. So knight f6, g takes f6, knight at g7, king f8, bishop at e7. Yeah. So I think Sefa and Catask have both got the starting idea. So let's just let's start out and oh, but he doesn't go to f8. So we need to think again. Oh, Lyerie, I hadn't seen you before. Cool. So, and you actually said bishop at e7, knight at f5. Okay, so Lyerie, I think Lierie's got the full line before anyone, I think. So bishop at e7, okay, and knight at f5. So knight at f5 is great because it keeps the king in the box. And because this knight is controlling that square, I'm going to keep that knight there and use this one, so we're keeping him in the box. And then, so you almost got it, but it's obvious now that it's not g7, but it's that. Okay, so you had to take with this knight, not the other knight. It's a slight error, but I think the area was closest. So I'm going to put you on the board. It's always good to have new people on the board. Bishop e7. Yeah. Okay. So that was quite a tough one, but quite nice. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay. Sefa says he'll get a cola and be right back. That's going to make me thirsty. I have a cola in my fridge. Although not a standard cola, a kind of one of these, I don't know, Mexican cola or something. Catask sees mate in 3. Yes, it's very good. I wonder if Catask is too strong for this. And Riasai also sees it. Okay, so Catask is on the board. So, yeah, this is a tough one. So Catask is too strong for this, but then these puzzles are going to get seriously tough. So I think it's fair to get him in solving these because we'll need him with these tough puzzles. So okay, hard luck on reassign Lyerie. Catask is now chasing you down. Okay, and we have about 28 puzzles or so, 27 puzzles or so left. 28, 27. Okay, I should have been reading to you where each game was from. So because each of these games is from games in season 5 of the Crazyhouse League, and I did not share properly the details. So this one. Okay, do I have to solve it all over again? Yes, I guess I do. I need to solve it again to get the information. So this puzzle, which is the one we started on, and if I click on explanation, it shows hopefully it shows on your screen. No, it doesn't show on your screen. Now it shows on your screen. It was Asian 42 against Adande 1. Okay, so okay, I'll do that in future. So sorry I didn't do that before. And so that's analysis board. So analysis board is all looking good. Okay, so hopefully the screen is still looking good for you guys. Yes. Okay. So after we solve the puzzle, it will tell you where the game was from. So he's catask says mate in 5 he thinks, and Sefa says rook at c2. Okay, and lyerie, are you sure? I'm seeing mate in 6, and they're not sure. Okay, so rook here is clearly a good starter, so we're cutting the king off, and so the king is going to be restricted to these two files. Okay, in fact, the king is in fact going to be forced here. So hi there, Akirakuma as well. And lyerie, what's your name on lichess, by the way, because I don't recognize. So I shouldn't be telling you. What's move 2? What's move 3? Okay, so Sefa got move 2. Okay, a5. Okay, so that's 2. If the king came up, we would take the bishop, would be 3. So I'm guessing it is mate in 5, but we'll see. If we took the bishop, it would be 3, and then the king would go back, and a bishop here check would be 4, king would go back here, and that would be 5. So it's clearly mate in 5 if the king runs up the board and allows us to take the bishop. Okay, so let's play the first few moves so we can see it. Okay, so actually he runs back, so maybe he makes our life a little bit easier. So it's not necessarily a mate in 5 because it's not the fastest line. So what's the best move here? So actually this is quite an easy one now. This is just a mate in 2. Yep, so it was a mate in 5. So this is just a 2 from here because he didn't do the best move, because I felt this was if you're going to try and survive this kind of position, you're not going to give away another bishop. So Ryusai gets it, yes. So who got it to begin with? Let's see. I would say I think Sefa got it to begin with. So I'm going to give Sefa the point for that. We're doing some Crazyhouse puzzles, ominous. So welcome, and do join in the competition. And we've done 50 already on Pepe's stream, and we're now going to do the last 30, which are going to get a little bit more tougher, finishing it off on my stream. And I forgot to tell you again where this was from, so I'm going to have to quickly just play it out again. So this was from Joanna against Legion Destroyer. So it's a pity that it's just underneath where you can see it. Okay, so let's go forward again to the next one. So how do you participate? So ideally you give the first move at least, and if possible give more of the line. I won't say give the full line because there will be a mate in 17 at some point, so that would be unreasonable to ask you to give the full line. But let's say as we go along, maybe some of these tougher puzzles could be broken down into segments, and just choose the best move. And although you have little hope of catching Ryusai, who's already on 17 points, however the prize is going. I mean, how this is going to be determined is like I want people to participate basically. Catask sees mate in 12. IamNobody sees mate in 3. And now I'm just going to have a look at it. Oh yeah, I know this one. Yeah. And Ryusai, looks like Ryusai got this one. And PKR is given the full line. Yeah. Okay, so and PKR, well done for giving the full line. Okay, I think that's your first point for giving the full line. Knight at c7, smothered mate. Okay, so PKR is on the scoreboard. Joining Catask and lyerie and Timoru and nobody. I'm not sure if he's participating. All on 1 point. I mean, nobody's just scored loads of these, but but I haven't been counting. Knight takes b8, knight at c7 is mate. Okay, yeah, so Sefa also saw it. Okay, so now let's show you where this was from. This was from Samuel Haupt against Atamek, Samuel Halt didn't find this mate, but he did find a mate later along the line. Okay, next one. So we're black. We have a knight and a queen in hand. Oh, this is quite an easy one. Nobody's the bouncer, he says. So we already had a knight in hand, the last one, Sefa, so it was all easy. So lyerie says knight b2, queen d1, knight a4. So lyerie's got it. Knight b2, queen d1, and very nice, knight a4, mate in 3. So just to say a bit more, I've actually also been tagging, you can't quite see, it's off your screen, but tagging puzzles. This is quite a hard one to tag. So that was between the Crocodile Hunter and Asian 42. Well, because I guess there's a sort of discovery idea, and well, in a sense, it's so I just tagged this as King Hunt. And in a way, a King Hunt is everything that can't be tagged by other things, where the king has to be somehow netted in some way. Okay, knight at so Sefa. Yeah, so Sefa, you were close, but lyerie gets the point for that one. Okay, so next one. So we're black, we've got a load of pawns. So Sefa says, stream comes late for me, I will refresh. Yeah, no, I completely empathize with that, because I've been on streams where they're holding these kinds of competitions, and it's really unfair if some people are getting the video 30 seconds before you are, and that happens to me. So I will give you the point if I feel you got it before, even if it comes after. So catask sees mate in 3. Yes, you're right. So catask is going to be our bouncer as well. Akirakuma. Pawn d6. You need to figure out your notation. Yeah, I think Akirakuma meant what lyerie's just said. Yes. So I think Akirakuma might get the point. Let's see. And PKR is giving the full line. So king to d1, at c2, check, king c1 at d2 mate. Yeah, okay. So what about takes? Yeah. Yeah, white's got a lot of pieces. So yeah, if you let that pawn sit there, then as PKR gave in his line, it's just going to be mate with those pawns very quickly. So just 2 pawns along the back rank will mate you. Yeah, Risai 8000 gives the move. So it's hard to judge who gets the. I think Akira was the one who saw the first move first, but then lots of other people also. Okay, this is a hard one. So who deserves points? Okay, I'll give Akira a point. I'll give PKR a point. Who else wants a point? I think. I'm going to give Akira a point and PKR a point for. And Ryusai, yeah, it was kind of easy by then, so I'll give others a chance to catch up. Okay, so to say more about this puzzle, this was Igor Bugmate against Libra. Okay, so the less said about this position, the better, because Libra was subsequently expelled from the league. Yeah, because cheating is just absolutely not tolerated, and that's what Libra was doing. Okay, so next one. But it was a nice puzzle, I thought, a nice sort of discovery idea, letting the queen invade in the way it does. So catask says too many mates in 3. Now I'm trying to, let's see, how do we do this? We've got a pawn, a bishop, and a queen. So I'm not seeing too many. Real size says bishop h8, lyerie is seconding that, and Sefa saying bishop f8. So Rusai, yes, you are indeed correct. You draw the king into the corner, and if he runs away, then queen there is just checkmate, and if he runs this way, then it's very straightforward. So I'm giving the point to Rusai. Okay. Not maybe, says nobody. Yeah. Need a bit more conviction from you, Rusai. Okay, so that's the theme of the sort of magnet theme, drawing the king into a position where it can easily be mated. And again, I forgot to tell you where that was from. So just to quickly tell you. So this was from a game between Marlonk as white and G. Rogers as black. So it was an opportunity for Marlonk to actually win this game that I think he went on to lose. So that's quite interesting. Lyerie says bishop at h4. Okay. And then what? So bishop at h4 is a very nice idea because it stops the king running back to f2. IamNobody really says nobody remembers the names anyway. True, but I'm doing this for the Crazyhouse League, and the guys who played will they know each other. And yeah, if you play a lot on lichess, you'll definitely know you'll know Marlonk, for example. The guy's played 25,000 games of Crazyhouse on lichess. If takes g5 and mates. Okay, so lyerie, you. So the idea is, so bishop here is really good because if he goes back here, we'll just go pawn here and queen here, and it's checkmate. So that's really good. So if this, then so I'm just trying to think. G5 or at g5? Trying to work out if it makes a difference. So if we go g5, he takes, queen there, check, king there. Suddenly the queen is not in the right place. So if I need to think a moment. We have a rook, so we should be able to do this. If I go g5, what I'm worried is that he starts hiding here, but so PKR says bishop h4, king takes h4 at g5, king takes g5, h6 check, king h4, g5 check, king h3, queen h4 checkmate. So g5 takes, h6, king g4, I'm being a bit slow here. King takes g5, h6, king h4. Okay, then g5, then king h3, and queen h4 mate. Okay, so whichever way he goes, here or here, this place is mate. Okay, that seems to make sense. Lyerie says rook at g6 or queen at g6. At g5 and rook at g4 is mate in 4 from here. And then Kata says at g5 and queen at g3 is mate in 3. I think that's the fastest possible. If g5 first, it is mate in 4. So at is the usual notation for adding a piece, yeah. But use whatever is convenient for you. At. So you're adding that piece. So at g5, okay, now. So now what? So you said mate in 3. So what's the mate in? So what's the mate in 2 from here? Because we've seen there's a mate in 3, which PKR said, which is basically this check, and this. So we're now looking for a mate in 2. So yeah, catask, feel free to share. So we only have a rook and a queen. So yeah, h6 we found would be mate in 3. h6, king here, g5, king here. There's mate in 3. So that's mate in 3, but there is a mate in 2 here. Queen at g3 and a rook at f5 or rook at h6. So, oh, queen at g3, yes. Okay, sorry, if you said it before, I think you might have said it before. And if you said it before, I'm sorry. Yes, Catask got it. Nice one. So we're taking advantage of the pin. Very nice indeed. So notice how it's often a very nice idea of putting the queen behind the king, and that keeps the king penned in against our pieces. And then rook f5, it's pinned, it's defending the bishop as well. So that's really nice. Just to show, this was rapid variance against the finisher, so it didn't finish exactly this way, but yeah, so from the beginning, and this is a sort of, this theme we call the cookie crumb theme, and it's covering the escape, and it's also blocking the escape, because you're covering the escape with the initial check, and then later we're blocking the escape, and then finally we're exploiting a pin. So those are the kind of the themes. So I think the finisher mated one move slower, possibly. But okay, so I think that's the one we're on. Yes. So we are white, and we've got lots of minor pieces in hand. I'm trying to remember how to solve this one. Yeah, I think I see how to do this one. So this is not too difficult. PKR says, my game, I know this one. I'll refrain. So Sefa says, add a rook on g7, and I think you mean g8. Then knight d5, yeah. So knight d5, and then the king runs here. So it's very important to Crazyhouse to stop the king doing a runner. In other words, to create some kind of mating net. And that's fine, but then the king's going to try and run here and here and keep running. So what lyerie says is bishop at d6. Bishop at d6, interesting. And then rook at g8, knight d5. Okay. Okay, the problem with that is, no, I think that might work. Bishop at d6. What if rook here? And then you're giving yourself a flight square for your king. Okay, so I think Sefa's the one who's got it. So well done, Sefa. So you do this, and then bishop here check, and you're not worried about this because that square's already covered. And then knight at d5. So you block the king in. Oh yeah, queen takes d6 also. Eek. Yeah. So yeah, well done, Sefa. So Sefa with that is up to 7 points. So this is really great job from him. And we are entering soon into the last 20, I think. We're on 21 to go, I think, with this puzzle. Oh, I forgot to tell you again. Okay, so that you block the escape, really important, and then you mate. You've created the mating net and then you make. And just to confirm, yep, that was, in fact, pretty much the mate that PKR 5025 delivered against James OG. Okay. So it's knight d5 or knight at d5, yes. Okay, so this one is going to be a tough one, if I remember rightly. So we have a pawn and a rook in hand, so we don't have what we need to mate yet, but we're going to be picking up pieces. So the first problem is how to take that rook. So who thinks we should take with the bishop and who thinks we should take with the queen? Oh, okay, and then Sefa thinks we should go d6 first. D6 first, bishop takes, could be king takes, could be rook takes. Yeah, we could go rook takes, and so we don't take with the king in your line, Sefa. So taking the rook is a good idea. How should we take it? With the bishop? Or if I had the Vote Chess app, extension, which I unfortunately don't have, then the question would be, which piece should we move, the bishop or the queen here? Akirakuma says bishop. Does anyone vote for queen? Bishop says Risai. Yeah, so okay. Catask says I don't see mate. So not all these puzzles are mating, but this one is. So what next? Not sure if queen is promoted on f8. That's a good question. That's a good question. But black already has a queen in hand, so having another queen makes no difference, probably. By the way, that is a really good question. There's no way of putting in notation on the chessboard to distinguish a promoted queen from a non-promoted one. So that is a problem. So lyerie says queen e8. What about rook at f8? Okay, that's a very nice idea. Rusai wants queen takes rook as well. Okay, so it means he has to block with piece, not pawn. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But he does have a queen in hand already, and look, now he's got two queens. So, and actually, we can add it up because they're two queens and we have none. That means they are the real, genuine queens. Because this isn't Bughouse, there were two queens at the beginning, and they can't die. So we deduce that those are the two queens. Okay, so what next? lyerie says rook at f8. That's interesting. So we could. So what's Catask saying? He's saying it's mate in 4 or 5 from here, but nothing specific. Okay, so we'll go with rook at f8 since that's what lyerie suggested, and rook f8 is quite interesting, and it is one of the fastest mates. So it turns out you can also promote to queen, and that would also be equally fast. King d7. Okay, rook at f7 says Catask. That's very good. Bishop at e7. Okay, so you've got it. Bishop at e7, rook takes e7, picking up a bishop. Knight takes e7, bishop at e8. was my idea, since he cannot block with pawn. That's brilliant. And he goes back. Okay, so just to explain that line, if instead of going knight here, he went bishop here, you go rook takes, knight takes, bishop at e8, covering the escape. So that's forcing the king. If the king goes up here, he's going to get mated. So it forces the king back. He'll go back to here. So now we haven't got this rook here. We just got this rook here and this bishop here. And we want to swing this bishop back with check. But the problem is that he can block on d8. So the way to finish off that mate is we'll drop one of our rooks on d8 and he'll take it. And then we'll swing our bishop back. And any blocker we can then take with checkmate. So catask, you found the fastest mate, but unfortunately for you, it's a different variation which we're going to have to think about here. So bishop at e8, king e6. Yeah, king e6, he gets mated quite quickly. But here I don't see the mate, says lyerie. Okay. So the thing with this one is we can take the knight, obviously. Catask says all puzzles. So these are puzzles I've added. And we've just done 50 on Pepe's stream. And many of them were mate in one. So there were probably about 20 mate in one puzzles. So these are actually positions I've specifically chosen from the Crazyhouse League, and we've done almost 60 out of 80, and they've all been maybe at least the first 40 were quite straightforward. But yeah, we're getting into the tough ones now, which is why we need you. So rook takes e7 is definitely got to be the move. And yeah, if you took the rook, then we probably have enough with our knight and rook to mate. And so how would we finish it off? We could put a knight here at some point, for example, and a rook here. Something like that, and with a pawn here or something. And we'll surely get a mate. So now the king runs away from our mating net. So what next? We've got 2 pawns, a knight and a rook. What to do? Rusai 8000 says knight d4. Which knight? Probably doesn't matter, that's correct. Okay, we're going to double take and get in. Oh, that should be easy now. So he's just penned himself in the corner, and we can finish it off with knight here check or knight here check. So very good. That was rapid variance against Gene Simmons. It didn't finish exactly like that. So just for fun, so queen takes is forcing him to take with the king. We could promote with queen, that's also another, but let's just do this one again. Also do with this knight. If he runs forward like this, then we can go like this, and this is also checkmate. And just to look at this again, if we take like this and we promote to queen, then we can go check. And he runs away because otherwise we can put a rook on, I think, if he runs up. But now we get to take the bishop with check and take this bishop. And using this, protect our pawn, because that pawn's quite nice. And then throw in this, and then we have checkmate here. So that would be the way of doing it if you promote. Okay, I think Rusai 8000 had the most great ideas in that one, so I'm going to give you the point for that one. So as I said, that was between Rapid Variance and Gene Simmons, and it did end indeed with a win with white, just not with takes and promote, but not exactly the same sequence. Something similar. So yeah, we are now in the last 20 puzzles, so we are going to get some toughies in these puzzles. So it's white to play. He only has a knight. Oh, this shouldn't be too hard. This isn't too hard at all. Because there are not that many things we can do. Like if we only have a knight, but we have no knight checks. So I shouldn't be giving hints. But bishop h6, knight f7, knight takes e5, then g7. So lyerie, you got it. Brilliant. Check. We pick up a pawn, and the pawn is what we need for checkmate. If he blocks, we just take it. So well done, lyerie. Who are you on Lichess, by the way? Because I don't remember playing you, but I'm sure I have played you. Just don't recognise your name. under your, meaning what name would I recognize you under? Okay, next one. Oh, this is a very beautiful one. Green apple cider. Cool. So I don't remember playing you. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people who have solved at least one puzzle at some point during this little competition. Yeah, so you say you're new to Crazyhouse. You're good. Sefa, why don't you show your face? I want to stay anonymous, but also I don't even know how to use the camera. Pawn at g2, knight at g3. So probably a couple of people know who I am, but not many. Pawn at g2, knight at g3. I'm confused. Yes. Pawn at h2. We don't know who nobody is either, so... but you know who I am on Lichess. I'm the same name, okay, yeah. So that's very nice. Knight at g3. Now, what's the idea of knight at g3? Obviously, we want to take it again. And okay, so we get to this position. Now what? What do we do now? We have a pleasant choice, rook or queen. So lyerie wants to take the queen, because if we take the queen, we're controlling this square and this square. Not completely controlling. Well, actually, if there was a block there, we could take with the bishop. But then bishop takes. Our queen is then cut. But we still have a queen, and then we could land a queen, a pawn there, and a queen here. So it does look like it'll be mating. But there's a lot more stuff that can be blocked if it's not a double check. So lyerie says knight f1, king g1, then mate is a long way off, I think. Okay, so can anyone see the mate after knight f1? So catask obviously can, because it's a very classic trick. Yes. So catask has given. So now this is a really important trick. I call it a magnet mate. You draw the king to the corner, and then you checkmate it. I only know IamNobody from Pepe's stream, Sefa. Like I know you from Pepe's stream also. It's okay. I'll give that to catask. No one else was seeing it. So lyerie, you were close, but not quite. So explanation. This was Moha 369 against Darubaru. So yeah, the mate was not found. What was the fault with okay, yeah, okay, let's so I tried to show it on so I'm just going to just do that so I can see the analysis board. Okay, so first move here, knight here, check, takes. So for sure this is mating because we have a queen in hand, but the move I was worried about is something like, what if I do bishop here? And then I'd have to do something like... So the thing with knight takes rook is it was a mate in 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Oh, bishop at g3. It's a move slower, people are saying. So I was thinking, what about this? And then this. So the other one was 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what I think. And I can just open up the ending to check. So it's mate in 3. Yeah, so it's mate in 3 versus mate in 4. Okay, so yeah, sorry you have to leave us, lyerie. Yeah, thanks for joining in. That's great. Great to have you, and great to have a strong players playing Crazyhouse. Analysis board cuts off the back rank. Oh yes, this is interesting. So my only way of fixing that is just making this. No, that doesn't work. Ha! I was going to make it tiny, but that doesn't work. Okay. I don't have a solution apart from just manually changing it when I switch over. Sorry about that. Okay, so sorry, Steph, I have to go. You're going to watch Harry Potter 6. Enough Crazyhouse for today. Good night, everyone. Good night, Sefa. Good night, lyerie, again. Yeah, so that was just a little bit slower. That was all. Okay, so next one. So we're into the we're in the home straight, but they're not going to be easy. Only about 15 or 16 left. Now this was a very beautiful one, and Pepe was white. And Pepe did find the mate, the really beautiful mate in this game. So if you've been watching Pepe's stream, you'll have seen this already. If you remember it from a few weeks ago. So can anyone see the first move? So Risai gets first move. Okay, that's good. So what actually happened in the game, and I can't, it's already played it. What happened in the game was rook takes, and Pepe played queen on the back rank, checkmate, not checkmate. It would be checkmate because he has no blockers, but so the point is his only move was to move the rook back, and then you just move your bishop here, and it's a checkmate. So that's how the game finished. So what black should have played is taking with the king. So Risai 8000 says knight at c5. That seems like a really good idea because the pawn is controlling d6, and using the knight we're going to control e6. And this is also a draw and push idea where you sort of check the king and then you control that square where you were checking it. And then you can... So I'm sure you can see how this is going to be quite easy from here. Bishop at d7, yes. Check, and now you're controlling this square, so if he blocks, you just go queen takes rook, and if he doesn't block, you have another bishop to finish things off. So that was from pepellou against Eagle Bugmate, and he did indeed find that mate. And just to show you, there's actually a really crazy mate as well. Instead of going knight takes bishop check, there's another really crazy thing you can do, which is bishop here check. And the idea is if rook takes bishop, you have knight takes bishop and queen at d7 checkmate. So after bishop here, he has to go king takes. And then you can put the queen here with check, take the bishop with check, and put the bishop there, checkmate. So that's another kind of very beautiful variation of the checkmate. Okay, so 17 or so to go. What do we do here? We have a knight, 2 rooks, and a queen. So let's see if we can calculate something. So mainly what I'm thinking is, why isn't this just easy? There. Oh, I see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is correct. Well done, catask. Now why isn't it easy? Why is it not completely easy? It's just there, there. One, two. Yeah, I think this is easier than it looks in a way. Rook at d8, king takes f7, knight at h8, king g8, queen at f7, king h8, rook at g8, checkmate. Let's try this out. We're going to go rook at d8. Oops. So rook at d8, he can just go step up, and all the squares are covered apparently. But then he could go knight there, check maybe. Take the knight. Rook at... Oh, I'm not sure. We have 2 rooks as well, so I'm going to have to look at that in the analysis board. Okay, so we do need queen, but can we do this straight? But then we don't have the queen for f7. Okay, this is the problem. Okay, I see. So this is what makes the problem tricky in a way. Is if we don't have the queen if we had the queen for f7, then the problem would be very easy. So I'm going to look later why we don't have the queen for f7. So rook here, I was worried about this move, and yeah, you can just exchange everything off and get the queen eventually. Yeah. So okay, so following, let's just click retry puzzle. Try it again. And knight h8. Okay, so that's a really nice second move, and why you choose that is because you're covering the escape square for the king. If the king runs out, then it's going to take longer. Okay, so catask then says takes f8 and rook at f7. Takes f8 and rook at f7, and it turns out we've got another rook in hand, so that makes it very easy. So well done, catask, and just to look at the analysis board, I'm gonna cheat with this one. So if we did rook at d8, yeah, so apparently that's mate in 5 from here. So king e7 was the move I was worried about. You go rook takes e8. Yeah, and if I just go... So we have to give up the queen. Okay, but that's just taking queen, king takes. And then we have another queen. Okay, so it is mate in 5 versus mate in 6. Yeah, I'm sorry if stuff is cut off. It was working earlier, but then I had to adjust something else. Oh yes, there is a way of making it work, but okay. So just to say what explanation, this was Holloway against the Crocodile Hunter, and I think it was a missed mate. I'm not quite sure how that game ended. Okay, the next one. So we've got, I think it's 16 to go. So black has got 2 pawns and 2 knights. I remember this one. So this was a board 1 match. And black did find the mate. So f2 check, king d1, e2, king takes e2, So we're going for, with our pawns and our knights, f2, king to d1, e2, king takes d1, knight at g3, king d1, and then another pawn there. So, and catask says you need 3 pawns for that. I think it's a mate in 4. So yeah, feel free to give the line, because we've only got we are entering into the most difficult puzzles here. But although this one turned out not to be too bad. So we have 2 pawns. So reset 8000 gets it. Yes, so it's a queen invasion. I think catask also had it. We draw the king out and then push it back in again. So the themes I gave for that was a queen invasion, draw and push, and ending up with a diagonal and knight mate. So black was clear cast in that position, and white was Gene Simmons. And Gene Simmons was actually doing pretty well that game, but then he just missed this queen invasion idea, and the game turned. Okay, so this one we got a bishop and a queen, and okay, so this is actually not too difficult either. So who is Clearcast? No, so Clearcast is a streamer, so you should follow him on. In fact, on my latest blog on zhchess.blogspot.com. So I'll just put my blog link. So on my latest blog, I discuss actually this league which is played over on Lichess, and at the end of the blog, I give the link to Clearcast's Twitch and YouTube, and you can. Since this year he streams. He's a 2400, 2500 Crazyhouse player. He has a camera on, so Sefa will like. And he explains his thinking. So like Janli hasn't been streaming as much lately, and so he's been doing a lot of the elite Crazyhouse streams. So reset 8000, queen h4. Yeah, so queen h4 definitely looks like a good idea, because we're going to be picking up a piece with check. So let's just pick this up. What next? So we've got a knight and a bishop. Should we throw in a knight check or a bishop check? I think this third move is also quite important. I think. So we want a move that can let us checkmate white, let us into the position. Knight check at s4, says dachatwitch. Okay, so I think can you get full line? Because you might get on the scoreboard if you get it. Knight f4, he goes back. Okay, whoever gets this move gets the point. Between the guys who had good ideas already, especially. Reset 1000, bishop at h2. Yes. Okay, and the idea is that if you take the bishop, then that just lets us in. Queen there check and queen there checkmate. So he avoids taking the bishop, but that won't save him. Because we still come in and take any blocker. So that knight was, going back to the beginning of the position, that knight was kind of the lever that let us in to the position and also control the mating square. Yeah, so do join in dachatwitch. I'll put you on the scoreboard, but you haven't got any points quite yet because you kind of had half a solution. So this was from a game between Asian 42 and Colwem. And Colwem did not find the mate. I think Asian 42, his king went for a runner. So, yeah, it's a good one. Okay, 14 puzzles left. Now this reminds me of the one where queen at h8 was checkmate right at the beginning. We had some one-move puzzles, like you have a queen in hand and you, sorry, h1. You just dump a queen on h1 and it's checkmate. Okay, this one's not quite so easy because we've only got a pawn, 2 knights, and a bishop. And as I said, if you're just joining now and you're saying, oh, these puzzles are really tough, yeah, we've done about 60 puzzles already, and the first 40 were definitely very easy. We had about 20 mate and ones. So you've just joined us at when it's getting really hard. Okay, so how can we use these pieces? And I can give you a hint. It is a mating puzzle. Dachatwitch says knight at e2. Now, yeah, what would be the point of knight at e2? It's definitely good because if he doesn't take it, we go here. And then we could win a rook with check potentially. What else could we do? So what's the idea? Let's try and work it out. So if he takes it, we pick up a queen with check. That's good. And if he doesn't take it, but still not clear how we proceed. And if he doesn't take it, then what? And I'm trying to work it out myself. So we could take a rook. Is there anything else we can do? IamNobody says take f1, drop g3. So take f1. So then our knight will be controlling this square. So he definitely has to take it back, because otherwise if he just does something like just drops back, then rook here would be checkmate. Okay. So knight here, if he goes here, takes, yeah, if he just drops back, rook here is checkmate. So he definitely has to take it. So then you're saying drop g3. And that's defended by the knight. So he can't just drop back, because otherwise rook here would be checkmate. Okay, very good. So he has to take that pawn. Very nice. Yeah. Start with knight e2, of course. And then we can then land something, maybe a bishop on g1 and rook at h2 mate. Absolutely. And if he sacks his queen in the process, that's just going to make life very easy for us. Okay, very good. So IamNobody and dachatwitch. Okay, but he sacks his queen. So we're going to take the queen. So yeah, IamNobody and dachatwitch. I think you both. I'm going to give you both points for that. Nobody's not really. He's competing, but he's been with us since the beginning. But now we have another puzzle. What to do now? No, I mean we need spoilers. These are tough. And it's not really a spoiler because white played something different. And I remember. Do I remember now what to do? Yes, I think I remember what the next move. So I can't say it because I remember I remember what to do here. So yeah, this is open to all. This is tough puzzles. So what do we do next? So we want to throw in some kind of check. But so Lisa is thinking knight at g3. Well, so we do knight at g3. What should we do here? So if we don't take the knight, then if we don't take the knight, then knight takes rook is going to be a kind of pain in the neck. So I guess we take the knight if knight at g3. So it takes. So yeah, so knight at g3 we just take it. Then what? How are we going to check? How are we going to check him again? That's the problem. Yeah, so that's the problem. Knight g3, he just takes it, and I don't think we made. Okay, so we take again, and then you go here, and then that takes the rook, and yeah, that must be that. Yeah, that must be something. So why is that not right? Okay. Oh, it is right. Okay. Oh. Why is that not right? F takes g3, knight g3. Okay, so if we did do knight takes g3, that's going to be 1, 2, takes back. Huh. I see the rook's still defending the back rank. What a pain. Yeah. So yeah, the point of going knight at g3 was not to take back on g3, but was to clear it. Was to clear this square. Because after knight takes g3, king here, knight takes rook, rook takes. You have a rook, but no decent. So queen at g1, we have no more knights, so we just take it, and then knight takes pawn, king here, yeah, and then we don't have another knight for f1 or something. But dachatwitch, you're very close. Queen takes g1, rook takes g1, bishop takes g1. Oh, it's not check. So bishop takes g1 is not check, and then suddenly we might have some sequence of checks against us. Hi there, Chuck. So Chuck's just posted my my blogspot, zhchess.blogspot.com, which, yeah, I recommend you check it out. Something about rook at h2. Yeah, exactly. Well, we can do that straight away. Queen at h2, and he's toast. Because he's only got one defender of this square, and they're two attackers. So we can go in, and if he doesn't take it, if he just drops back, we got him. And if he does take it, we take it. So yeah, sorry. Let's just open that up on analysis board, and then we're going to have to adjust the analysis board so that we can see it. So okay, so it's not perfect, but let's do that. So you see Stockfish has been thinking about it for 10 seconds and still hasn't seen the mate. And then it suddenly, when you play it, it sees it. Okay, so queen takes, knight takes. So just to show the line after here, we're going knight takes, and you can't just drop back and not take it, because this is checkmate, or indeed rook here is also checkmate. So he has to take with the knight. And then the very nice move is pawn at g3, which we'll see in the main line as well, clearing away this square. And the only reason is because you want to get your own piece in here. And if he drops back, knight takes g3 is checkmate. So we're going to see this, and then the queen is checkmate. Okay, so that idea is going to be taken up again if he takes the knight. Takes, takes, and king h1. And yeah, then the tricky move is knight at g3. So he can't just go here, otherwise we just take the rook and here is checkmate. So he has to take that knight, but the only reason that's a good idea is because it's clearing away your path to g1. But it's not on g1 we want to put it, so if we just put it on g1, he just takes it. And he's actually quite safe. So we actually need to put it on h2, which of course he has to take. And now we're controlling the g1 square. If he drops back here, this is checkmate. And if he takes here and using the final rook, this is checkmate. So yeah, really quite tough puzzle. So this is from the game God Bless 111 against Chab or Chab. So it was a board 5, I think a board 5 match. So not surprisingly, they did not find the crazy tactics that even the board 1s would struggle with. Now, this needs to be readjusted for this. And on to the next puzzle. We've got just about a dozen or so left, just over a dozen left. This is a very nice one. So black has got a knight and a bishop and a rook, and he's been attacking quite a lot. But it looks like white's just finally managed to clear away all black's attackers. But white's going to begin the attack again. Oh, sorry, black's going to begin the attack again. Going to lay those pieces on white's half of the board all over again. Yeah, so who should get points for the last one? So dachatwitch saw knight g3, Risa also saw knight g3, 92 first was dachatwitch. So I think dachatwitch was the first to get 92 first, so I'm going to give him the point for that. And then no one got to the finish. So bishop at h4. So bishop at h4 is indeed very tempting, because you're stopping the king from running back to f2. And whenever the king does run back to one of these two squares, maybe we could drop a rook or something on f2. But then he might be able to block. And then suddenly we've only got a knight left to finish the mate. So we haven't got enough. So we could get a bishop here, a rook here, and a king here with something blocking. But we haven't got enough to finish the mate. Risa 8000. Yes. Brilliant. So the idea of that is if he just drops back, we're invading. We've got a rook here. If he ever goes to the h file, we're taking the pawn with check. And if he just drops back, we're just invading with the queen. Queen there and here. So it's a queen invasion. Okay. But that's just a first idea, how to finish it off. So why is that such a nice idea? IamNobody really says mate in 5, which means it must be mate in 4 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I agree. Risa 8000, brilliant. So not only you draw the king out and then you trap it, and he's now just got all black's pieces to deal with. And yeah, now anything will win, basically. So one nice way of doing it is with the knight, and say with this, and just with a rook here, or just with a pawn. Or, okay, let's do it again. Retry puzzle the way Risai wants to do it. with, so we block him off, go knight in front of the pawns, that also works, and then pawn like so, and the rook like so. So yeah, mate in 5. So it was mate in 4 just after queen. I meant mate in 4 after the first move. So it is mate in 5, as IamNobody said. So well done. So where was that from? That was from Fahavu against James OG. So just in case anyone's just joining us, these are all puzzles from Season 5 of the Crazyhouse League, which is played on Lichess. I mean, if you check out playlists on my YouTube, there are other like videos about the Crazyhouse League. If you check out my blog, the latest post is all about the Crazyhouse League. The first 3 seasons were all individual seasons, but the last 2 have been team leagues. So when the next season starts, yeah, I mean, maybe the best advice is to get on Discord, because people will definitely be talking about it on Discord when it starts up again. And if that link doesn't work, well, hopefully it will work. Then I'll put another one at the end of the stream. Okay. So we're white. We've got pawn, knight, and bishop. Oh, this is completely crazy. I think this is some board 1 mate which was found, and it's just completely crazy. Or was it found? Or some variation of it was found. So dachatwitch needs to improve notation, but I know what you mean. So it's the D file, so which has the same color. The queen is on the same color as its square. So D7. And the second move is also fairly forced, because we want to check and... Well, no, it's not so forced. But we actually give away that pawn. Okay. And then reinforce. I mean, so the first few moves, that's all fairly quite natural. Dachatwitch want to do knight f7. Yeah, that would also be tempting. So why didn't we do that? Because then the knight comes here, and then this knight. So if we wanted just to take the rook and continue, that would be an idea. But actually, we're in trouble here. So we need to find mate, or else we're going to get mated with, check pawn here, knight. Oh, no, not exactly, but it is true that if we don't find mate, we're going to get mated. Bishop g5 a while back. Oh yeah, bishop g5 is an idea. Black can just drop a pawn on f6. So yeah, often in Crazyhouse, checks that can be blocked are not useful unless we want to take the blocking piece and then have extra ammunition for our attack. So he'll probably just block with a pawn. So that would be useful if we wanted just to connect our rooks on the back rank as a defensive tool. So it's not a bad idea, but hang on, bishop g5, you can just take it. What? Oh, so bishop at g5. Okay, yeah. Bishop at g5 takes. Yeah, the problem with that, I'm being stupid here, is... No, bishop at g5 is interesting. I think you just block and say, okay, go ahead and take my queen, and then try and launch a counterattack. So yeah, I wasn't taking that move as seriously as I should have done. It was actually quite worth paying attention to. So yeah, that was Neil Sahai, and Abos says rook d1, bishop e3, pawn at a3, bishop e3, pawn at a3, and Neil Sahai says c5 now, and I'm absolutely, I didn't read that out because I want to just see what other people were thinking. So rook d1 again, that's a check that can be blocked. So it has to rook d1 and king g5, king king b5. So yeah, no root D1 is to check that can be blocked, but it could be useful if we could then take some piece that, yeah. Okay, so pawn C5 is good. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop at this point. Yeah, you can't do your notation. So that's a little bit of hint. There are letters along the bottom and there are numbers along the side, but also just like we are white, so it goes A, B, C. But I know what you mean. You're thinking B4, and it doesn't work because the queen can swing across and take B4. So there's a very beautiful move that white can do in this position. Rusa 8000's got it. Yes, Rusa 8000 jumping in. Bishop E3, and the idea is to interfere with the protection of B4 because dachatwitch wanted to go B4, even though his notation was off. That's what he was basically saying. And Rusa 8000 has helped him do what he really wanted to do, which is B4. Okay. And now okay, so now what do we have? We've got a bishop in our hand. There's no way we're mating that king with just a bishop. Okay, so we're going to need more ammunition. And what's funny is, well, we have a bishop hanging. But notice how we didn't take the bishop last move. No, we used the fact there was interference so we could play b4. But now we can take the bishop because we've got our b4 established. So now we can take b4. And if he doesn't take us, if he sort of starts trying to hide away, okay, so then we got, let's see, where can the king go? So these three squares are covered. So the king can go here or here, or here. So if he doesn't take us, we could push this pawn and then drop a bishop here and it's checkmate. That's very nice, isn't it? So actually when we take this bishop, black has to take. Now what's going to be the strategy? Like, if this were normal chess, you'd now take the queen and you'd say I'm winning and that's it. But no, this is Crazyhouse. If you just took the queen, leaving your king all open like this, well, not sure if there's a mate. Yes, there is a mate. Knight here, check, king in the corner, pawn here, check, king takes pawn, knight out, swings up again. If you go back, queen at g2 is checkmate, so you have to go up. Now I can't see the full mating line, but something like queen here, check, king takes knight, bishop here, check, and the bishop and the queen control this whole square, and this controls that square, so that's checkmate. So if we just went and just took the queen immediately, white's getting mated. So what's the strategy in this kind of situation? It's going to be, I mean, if you're Crazyhouse players, you know this already. If you're not, then this might be a bit confusing. But the strategy is going to try and put the king on a square where we can take that queen with check. So if we get over, for example, drive the king to here, or not here, but if we go over drive the king to here, for example, then we can take the queen with check and we're fine. But we've only got two bishops, okay. And we saw we had sort of mating idea with this. Okay, so how to take this queen with check, that's the problem. So what happens if the king just starts to run? Okay, so what do we do next? It's almost like a new puzzle. Bishop at a5. Okay, so let's try. So that's blocked. That's blocked. Just try to work out where the mating net is. So notice how this pawn and this knight create like a wall against the king. So bishop at a5 is good because this knight also controls this square. Okay, so bishop at a5 would drive the king to one of these two squares. Okay, and then we can do what we said before of going there, check, or yeah, if you ever went to this square, then we can just go check, goes back, and bishop there, checkmate. So bishop a5 check, he probably goes back here, and then Yeah, I'm not sure. Because we could drop another bishop here, takes pawn here, back, but then we don't have a third bishop for the checkmate. So we'd need 3 bishops for bishop a5 to work. So dachatwitch has got it, knight a4, yep. So that's just saving so we can use the bishop for here. That's the idea. But now we've got to be careful, because we move the knight to a4, we're not controlling this square anymore. Okay, so bishop a6 makes sense. So it's like a mating net. So you can't go back. And now you want to go knight f5 or knight c5. Well, you've got to be careful, because knight c5 you can take it. But remember, this queen, b5, so IamNobody's got it. Yep. And notice, if he goes back, bishop there is checkmate. The knight and bishop combine beautifully to checkmate. But now we get the queen with check, and black can resign, which is why I just played king there. So king could take the knight, but just queen here, checkmate. Once you've lost the queen, it's all over. So going back to the beginning again. So first we create some kind of net. I think the really beautiful idea here is the interference, and then we can begin again, and then we capture the pieces we need. And we want the queen with check, so we just try and maneuver to get that queen with check, and then it's all over. And now nobody says good night all. Okay, good night. I'm sorry we didn't get to the mate in 17 one, but we got a good one there. Should we just do the mate in 17 one for IamNobody and then stop? I mean, and then continue with the rest. Because he did want to see the mate in 17 one. So, where is it? I can't find it. Eek. I've just lost. Can't find it. Okay. See it in the replay. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't seem to be able to find it. It's very weird. It's somewhere here. Okay, so this is a tough one. This is far too hard. So yeah, knight nobody. So who deserves points for the last one? So dachatwitch and Rusai both had good ideas. Rusai had the idea of the interference, so I'm gonna give a point to I think both of you guys. You both had great ideas. Okay, yeah, this is almost like this is almost too tough, this puzzle, basically. So on the positive side, white, yeah, and this is a beast of a puzzle. I mean, like I wouldn't expect even like the very best players in the world to get this one, basically. And it's made intentionally slightly harder by the fact you have to find the fastest. Queen takes d6. We don't quite have enough material to just sack our queen. So our queen is actually a wonderful piece here because it keeps the king in a mating net. So in fact, the move we really want to do, if we could keep the queen, is knight at f7 checkmate. But we can't do that because f7 is protected. So in that sense, you can see why removing d6 was tempting. But we want the queen as well, because the queen is keeping the king in a mating net. And yeah, because of this knight at f7 idea, you want something at e5. So pawn at e5 to try and dislodge the knight is fine, but it's slow, and then black would dislodge our queen. But then there is another nice idea, which is knight at d5. So even if you try to say bishop at d7 or something, that wouldn't work, because then we have knight at f7, takes, checkmate. So knight at d5 is a very nice idea. But not the fastest. Because black can defend somehow. How? Maybe... Yeah, I'd have to look at analysis afterwards. But maybe he can somehow block this and run this way. Maybe not. So, I don't know what to do with this puzzle. Do you guys want to have a go at it, or do you want me to just show you the solution? Okay, so at e5 is too slow. Knight at e5 is a really good try, but the problem is I think he might be able to either protect this square or block here. And does that work? So for example, knight at e5, bishop at d7, if I go knight here, check, takes, king runs to e8. If I go knight here, takes, king runs to e8 again, and then if I check again, he can runs to f8. So these puzzles are not yet they're not yet published because I've uploaded, yeah. So I don't have a link where you can see this, unfortunately. So this is, they're still in review. So dachatwitch, yes, excellent. Pawn at d7. And then knight at d5. And the point is then he doesn't have, he has no defense against either knight at c6 check or knight at f7 check. Knight e5, yeah, knight e5 we were just discussing, if the immediate knight e5, he could just probably block d7, and then we could do the same kind of idea. But yeah, so pawn at d7 followed by knight at e5 is just crushing. And he can't afford to let that rook hang, because otherwise it will be mate in a couple of moves. Now we've still got a little bit of puzzle. Do we take the bishop or do we move our king? And this is unfortunately, we need to find the fastest mate in this. And if we move our king, there are definitely no checks, apart from queen at g1, which we just take. But if we take the bishop, notice there's queen at f1 check. And if we take with the king, then there's another diagonal check. So we get actually more checks if we take. So it's better to move. And now it's easy. Oh, oh really? Oh gosh. I thought that was easy now. No. So what I was thinking was knight here check, takes, king here, queen here. What I didn't notice is the king can run out to here. So just take the knight first. So now we really are threatening knight at c7 check. And even if he puts the bishop there, it doesn't help because takes back is checkmate. And there's another way of doing it, which is taking here and then using the pawn for checkmate. That would also work. Or knight here, checkmate. Yeah. So just opening up on analysis board just because I want to share why the immediate knight at e5 can be defended. I was trying to suggest bishop at e7 or something. Yeah, so queen at e7 apparently makes the mate slightly slower, because then we don't have time to go, say, pawn at d7, because he just takes our queen. So it's still mate. So I'm tempted to take the queen, but apparently that's not so good. So pawn at f7, king f8, queen takes rook apparently is the best way of proceeding. Really? And then you don't even take back because you want to guard this square. So You just defend like crazy. So yeah, so this is like why the other mate doesn't quite work as quickly. Like it is mate eventually, but it takes a long time. Okay, so going back to the original, yeah. So what about this game? So this game was between the finisher and as white and Joanna. Obviously the game didn't finish exactly like this, but I think this is quite a pretty way it might have finished. Take knight with queen, yes. Yes, okay, so good job, dachatwitch. And also, who are you on lichess, just out of interest? So I know. Okay, so the next puzzle. There was a mate in 17 one that I was promising. A lost knight. Okay, that's interesting. So I don't remember playing you, but maybe I have at some point. Now these puzzles really are getting tough. At some point, this king was checked earlier in the position, and the king should have run to h1, I think, or should have run into the corner earlier in this position. But on g1, well, still there are ideas, but on g1 it's definitely exposed. But we only have 2 bishops and a rook, so what are we going to try and do? And watch out, because if we don't have mate, so I think what happened in the game is knight here check, takes the bishop, defend. Obviously, if we don't have mate, the threat is a smothered mate. Knight here check, queen here, rook takes, and smothered mate. And if we take the knight, obviously queen here is checkmate. Okay, but black actually has more in this position and can actually attack. You can't see it. Okay. I'm so sorry, yeah. Yeah, the left half of the board is kind of the important half. So as black, we got 2 bishops and a rook. And we could just go knight takes bishop and defend, but there is something much more interesting we can do. So I think let's just try and take this a move at a time. It's hard to like see a long way. What's going to be our strategy? Our strategy, if we're going to attack, it would be quite good to have this square free for our knight, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe we don't need it. But we need at least one of these 2 squares free for the knight to control the corner. But so bishop at f2 is tempting. And if king here, knight here, king here, g1 is quite well controlled is the problem. So bishop at f2, I think he just slides into the corner. Whereas if I go bishop at e3, then when he slides into the corner, I've got knight here, and if he ever slides back to g1, I've got like discoveries picking up the queen with check. And if he slides here, maybe there's some way I can force him onto the g1 square. Maybe that would be my aim. So let's see, is there a way of So yeah, bishop f2 is definitely the first thought, but okay, I'm going to give a hint. The first move is actually bishop at e3. Now the idea was, as I said, if he goes to h1, knight there check, king here, how to finish things off. Maybe bishop here, check, take any blocker, knight back. Those sorts of ideas. Now if we go knight takes f2, knight takes f2, okay, but knight takes to f2 we get mated, smothered mate. Rook at h1. Now rook at h1 is a kind of crazy idea. We haven't got many pieces. We only got 2 pieces in hand. And you're going to throw away your rook. Apparently it's the right answer. Okay, so the point now is the g1 square is always forbidden. Because, well, if he ever goes to g1, we can take this queen with check. So now what? We could go pawn or bishop here, maybe. And if he takes it, yeah, then what? Then it's actually very important to get this right. So dachatwitch says pawn at g3, then bishop at f4. Pawn at g3 takes, bishop at f4. If he goes here, so I'm struggling to see bishop here, king here. Oh, were you trying to do this? But then this is already double covered. So pawn at g3 because we don't want to waste a bishop. But maybe here covers these 2 squares. So if he goes here, we can then use a bishop because bishops can see backwards. And if he goes here, then pawn here check, king takes pawn, pawn there. Are we a pawn short? So knight here check. So Rusai says the bishop on e3 controls h6. Yes. So in other words, we just need to control light squares. He goes back to h2. So why can't he go forwards? Because bishop there check. King here. Oh, we can go knight takes bishop. Okay, we can pick up an extra diagonal. So yeah, for sure if he goes forward, he's going to be toast. We're going to pick up an extra diagonal with check. Yeah. So we can drop back, and he drops back to h2. Okay. And then we can go the bishop here check or bishop here check. So I think bishop here check will do the job actually. Because then he won't be able to like push the pawn and go to a light square, for example. So bishop here check feels right. And then we can do this and win the queen with check. That feels good. Okay. But he still seems quite safe because of that knight. And all we have is a queen. So actually I just remembered what this is now. This is crazy. So this, I don't know. So the point is this knight is actually also cutting off the back rank. So eat f2, correct, but with which bishop? And it's important. So notice that this rook is no longer controlling the back rank. So if we take this pawn and he goes to h1, which looks quite safe because the knight covers the mating squares, yeah. Now I've played it, so I can't show it. But if he goes here, we actually have queen here, check, blocks, queen takes pawn, king takes, knight here, check, and we only got one pawn, or is it two pawns? And we can use our pawn here for checkmate. Okay, so we're eating f2, not f7, but yeah, sure, take that. And okay, we only got a queen in hand. There's no obvious place where we can put it. So what do we do next? So I think now it's a little bit more straightforward, I think. Queen at h1, okay, but he could block or he could run. So what we're going to do is we're going to just draw him out. Knight takes bishop. Because if he doesn't take it, then we have a knight controlling a square. We could, if he just ran, then we could just say, put queen here as checkmate, for example. And if he doesn't run, queen here check, and this is checkmate. Yeah, so Risa 8000 got it. Okay, so Risa 8000 and dachatwitch both with lots of good ideas. But that's a complete beast of a puzzle. Now, how to deal with this? Okay, what I need to do is I put it in a new window, so that way it doesn't cause trouble, instead of using the same tab, which I was doing earlier, which is quite silly. So just to show a few ideas, yeah, if you just go bishop at f2, which is the perfectly reasonable original thought, yeah, so we just don't have any follow-up. So bishop at e3 is obviously very powerful because it leaves these squares free for the knight. Now something which we're thinking about is why can't the king just hide away? Yeah, I didn't see this at all. I did not see this. I was thinking, is it knight f2 or... So I just did not see this variation at all. Rook h2, and he can't take it because knight here is a smothered mate. So he takes it like so, and then key thing is we control this square, and then we can do the whole thing that we did in the original line. Okay, so that's the first thing. We just did not see that, I have to admit. So a really beautiful rook at h2 idea is actually key if he goes into the corner. Okay, so what actually happened in the line we showed was takes, and rook at h1, which he takes, and then we take this check, attacking his queen, goes king h2, and then we drop a pawn at g3. So it's important we don't waste our bishop already here and here. Oh no, it was knight, yeah. And he can't go here because bishop at g3 here, and then we're winning this bishop with check. So if he runs towards our pawns, then he doesn't have much of a future. Bishop here will checkmate him. If he takes this one, well, we just picked up a bishop. That's going to keep him. That's going to keep him out in the open, as it were. Here and then pawn. Okay, so pawn there is not the fastest because the knight controls that square. So even faster is bishop here. So then we're controlling this square. And yeah, the king is actually in a mating net. The knight controls the two light squares next to the king, and the bishops control the dark squares. So whatever square, whatever piece he puts, we then take it, and it's checkmate. So just to show that line again. So if he's running up, we were doing this, and taking an extra bishop with check, so he just can't survive. So what we saw was what he did in the line we showed was this, running back, bishop at g3, running here, and then going here and here. And then there was an interesting line of why can't he, knight takes queen, why can't he go here? Like when I first saw this, oh. So there's a really easy reason why he can't go there, which is just this. And I was looking at a very complicated reason, which was, oh, this is not what I was thinking at all. Okay, knight takes queen. Oh, sorry, I was thinking a different line. So takes here. It's very important to take with this bishop, otherwise I think h1 becomes safe. Is it h1? No, h1 is not safe. So if we does this, and then why can't we just do at e2? Takes, takes. So we need to keep this square for the queen. Okay, that's the real reason why we take with the e bishop. Is we want to... So it's quite complicated. Okay, so we take the queen, and he blocks, of course, is the best move. We take with this bishop because we want this square to be free from the queen. Okay, that's a theme I just did not notice. And then there's a mate I was telling you about, which I thought was just crazy, which was, yeah, what if we defend to the rook, though? Okay, if we defend to the rook, we're winning, yeah, we're winning a rook with check, and so that's no good. So he has to defend with a knight. He can't defend with a rook or a queen, and then we have this very beautiful mate. Queen takes pawn, king takes queen, knight here, and the knight stops the king from escaping. We've got 2 pawns in hand, so this is checkmate. And so all the way back here, that's why he has to run this way, and then we saw the line which happened in the game. Takes, takes. If he doesn't take, if he keeps on running, queen here is checkmate. So he has to take, and then we have a diagonal mate. Okay, that was quite breathless, but there it is. And we're definitely in the last 10. We're definitely on the home straight. And this was the puzzle which I was promising IamNobody, but it is 3:51 a.m. or something where he is, so he had to go to sleep. So this is a mate in 17. And then I think after this, we are in the last 6 or 7, but they should get a little bit easier towards the end, because they won't always be mating puzzles. There'll be a few defending puzzles. Okay, so this is a game in which White had many mates. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about the last one. So the last one was James OG against Fahavu, was the last one. This is a game where White had many mates, but it ended up White sacked his queen, and then it ended up White got mated by a queen on b4. And this particular position here was White's last chance to win. And Dachatwitch also going to bed. It is 5 a.m. Yeah, indeed. Night. It is 3 a.m. here as well, so I should be closing soon. Okay, so we could check here maybe, but then the king goes here and not clear where to follow up. Here it could just get taken. Here it does get taken. And black defends his back rank even better. So can anyone solve a mate in 17? So I think we've just got to break it down, try and work out what the right first move is and so on. Got a lot of diagonal pieces, 5 pawns and a bishop. So the real problem I'm having is if we show a pawn there check, he's just going here. So how are we going to control the king? So I don't entirely remember the solution, so I'm just, in a way I'm working it out with you again. How do we control the king? Huh. I'm not seeing it. So my main problem with this is at some point the king is going to go to e8, and I don't understand how I'm going to check the king on e8. So I'm kind of lost with this puzzle. Okay, one nice thing we have is, okay, we do have something quite nice. So one nice theme we have is we have the threat of queen takes knight checkmate. If we can ever either block the defense of this rook or deflect this rook in some way. So but I'm still, if the king ever goes to e8, I'm still struggling to see what I can do. Which is not good, because I can't. Any ideas in chat? How are we going to make progress on this one? Okay, so we do have two interesting knight checks. But so Risa 8000 says queen takes f7 and P-tail feed me. So he's revealing himself as a fixed player. Very interesting. Fixed bughouse player. I want to interpose. I want to create interference here. I want to distract this rook. I want to get my knights in, but my knights, if they come in, are not controlling the right color of square. So I don't really want to do that yet, because I want to keep the threat here. And my main problem is, how am I going to control e8? And I'm not finding an answer to that problem at all. Okay, I know that's the first move, and that just only baffles me more because I still don't know how to control e8. And it doesn't feel like we've made progress because now the bishop is defending against the mate. So I'm like, why did we just do that? So this is terrible because I'm not. Do you go pawn here check at some point? Pawn here check, king here, pawn here. Oh yeah, then bishop takes. Interesting. Okay, I mean this puzzle is just crazy. So I remember there's some deflection idea here, but I don't remember what it is. I'm just going to try this. Why? I don't get it. Why doesn't he? See, I don't remember why he doesn't take it and doesn't just go to. So now this is pinned, so now I do have this if I wanted it, and he can't go to e8 because I've got queen there checkmate. But why couldn't he go to e8 earlier? Because now I can see I have a draw, which is knight there check. He can't go here or it's checkmate. Yeah, why didn't he go to e8 earlier? So I'm going to have to look at an analysis board because I'm completely lost. So here I have at least a draw because I can just go knight here check, king here, knight here check, and there's a double pin. The rook is pinned wherever he goes, so I can always get a draw. But it turns out we can do more than a draw by taking the rook. And now we have all these pawns. Do I check him? Do I swing back with another check? I could swing back with another check so I can get my pawn in. That's tempting. Okay, that's apparently right. And now I'm thinking, if I go rook here, he takes it, knight here. Have we made any progress? We've kind of restricted him. The other ones, if we go pawn there, he takes it. Okay, so we want to basically clear away his defenders. Ah, I remember now. I remember some cunning idea. So it's something like rook here, rook takes rook, and then we're going to later take that rook with check here. This is terrible because, so if I go check first, so if we go rook first, takes, and we've got all these pawns here, here. Oh, knight there would be checkmate. Okay, that is interesting. So rook here takes, pawn here. If you took with the rook, then knight there would be checkmate. So he has to take with the king. And then I pick up the rook with check, which is nice. So this is all like prefaced with the why didn't he go to e8 to begin with, which we're going to have to try and work out. And now we've got a pawn and a rook. So if we just did something like pawn here, he's sort of taking here. And we can't even drop a rook there. It's annoying. We could drop another pawn here. Okay, how? So pawn here, you can just take it as well. And we don't have this. Okay, so Rusai 8000 says queen takes g7. Yes. And now we've got two rooks in hand, so that's promising, because now maybe we can do a back rank. If we've got a pawn here and he goes here, we can back rank him. So when we put pawn here, he doesn't take. Okay. So now what do we do? He's escaped our back rank. We're now got a we have to chain him in somehow. But we've got two rooks with which to do it. So yeah, we're closing in. We're closing in. So anyone in chat see the? So it's tempting to check. Yeah, so we have a lot of pawns, but the pawn checks are covered. So it seems natural to drop a rook check and then pick up the bishop with check. And he couldn't go here because his rook here was checkmate. Okay. So Rusai 8000 got that. Well done. Okay, and now's the final sub-puzzle. We've got pawns and bishops. And we've got the king restricted to only 2 squares, in a way. But it's not so easy to check because he can take it. So can you see? We did something like check. He comes to here. If we move it out, he starts putting his pieces on the board again. Actually, it's quite hard, but we could go king here and block maybe. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it for chat. How to finish this off? Pawn at h6. Yeah, so you're deflecting the knight away from this. And now we can finish it off. That's very nice. Okay, but we still need to figure out still need to figure out, yeah, which is, and I'm just going to turn the engine on because, okay, so knight takes e6. Somehow I just don't feel, why did that make progress? Like even here, yeah, here you can't go king e8 because of knight takes c7, right? And anyway, taking back, it seems like a really good plan. We defend the king even more. Bishop at h6. Now, why can't he just go king e8? Oh, the bishop is hanging. Ah. So the threat is just simply queen d7 checkmate. Okay. Okay, I just didn't see that. So that's also, so this is why this is actually good, is we can actually take it back with check if he ever goes to e8. So after this, why doesn't he do this is the other question, and I was getting an inkling it was this and then this, which would be mate unless he takes it, and then there's this checkmate. So I saw that. I was seeing that kind of idea. So there is a cunning idea of deflection. And if he tries to block, that's also no good, because he's blocking the defense of this as well. But also there's just this, knight takes g6. And here checkmate. But also the other mate would probably work as well. The at e7. Dropping pawns here and taking. Because he's cutting the defense. So the move he plays was very nice, because it gives the king an extra square to go to. And then it looks like maybe it's a draw. And like Stockfish doesn't see the mate at all. But we can take the rook. And we get to this position. And then the realization is Stockfish is still not seeing it. Look, queen takes g7, black is winning. Because black is winning there. We have to go knight d6 first. No, hang on. What do we have to do here? So, oh, we've still got a rook in hand. Okay, yeah, we do this. I was thinking of queen takes g7 ideas, but yeah, there's still a rook covering the back rank, because the whole point of queen takes g7 is we're going to do a back rank attack. But in order to get that back rank attack to work, we first have to clear out that rook. And if this, then queen takes rook, apparently. If this immediately, then queen takes rook. And rook at g8 is working. So we have pawns, enough pawns apparently to finish the job. I mean, it's very unsurprising that white's in serious trouble in this line, but we just need any piece to mate. So knight at f6. Okay, so obviously you take that rook, and the idea of this rook is then we can take this back later. Okay, so pawn at h7. And the idea is if he takes the rook, then we have this very beautiful checkmate, like knight and bishop mate. So he has to take with the king, and then we get to take the rook with check, which is what we always wanted to do. Oh, hi there, Joanna tries. We're just finishing off the last few of the puzzles that Pepe did on. Pepe did the first 50, and we're just trying to finish off the last 30 of the puzzles from the Crazyhouse League. And so we did this. And this, and of course he can't take the knight, because then we have back rank. Ideas is sort of at g7 and we're controlling his back rank, so he has to take the pawn, and then we've got this. He can't go here, otherwise rook e8 is checkmate, so he goes here. And finally we've got him down to only 2 squares and no pieces around his king. And then the final trick was not bishop, but we need to save up our bishop, because bishops can see backwards. We deflect the knight, which is defending here, and now bishop c backwards, and we get this mate. So this is the tough mate in 17 that IamNobody stayed up 4 or 5 hours for, but it took us a while, and so he had to go to bed. But he'll see this in the morning and see us getting confused about it. And this was a game between Asian42 and Adande. Asian42 didn't find the mate in 17. He had much easier mates, which we discussed earlier on Pepe's stream, and in the end Adande finished off with the mate in 1 with queen at b4 checkmate. He had all these pieces in hand. Yeah, he just finished off with queen at b4 checkmate because white didn't find the mate. So yeah, we're still doing the. We have about 16 or so people who've been contributing, but Ryusai is storming in the lead with something like 22 points. And Joanna is still on the leaderboard with 4 points if you want to jump back in. And some of the last ones are actually going to be a little bit easier, but we only have something like 8 puzzles left. But we're still in the tough zone for now. But there will be a few easier ones at the end. We're at the highest end of the difficulty range for now. So this is a game between Rapid Variance and Schwanet, and I actually posted about this game on my blog. PKR says he's got 2. PKR, indeed, you got 2. You're on my board. Yeah, so watch Pepe. I mean, watch whatever you didn't see already of Pepe's video, and it seems like we've gone on for another 2 hours after it. So, yeah. Okay, so we only got a pawn. So actually, White's last move was to put pawn at g3. Sure. Let me. That's the beginner's guide to Crazyhouse, but don't know. I mean, you can find whatever in that you want. So you can take off the end part and just take the blog spot. And the last blog is about the Crazyhouse Team League. In fact, if I just open it up, there's something. So this was the last blog about Season 5 of the Crazyhouse League. And in my recap of the season, instead of going through all these puzzles, I decided just to talk about 6 positions from one game. The first position was this one, White to play. Good night, Joanna. And the second one was this one, and then for each position I have like corresponding GIFs of one of the best possible variations. And okay, we're not going to spoil this one yet, but now in this position, White has just played pawn at g3, and he really should have played rook at g3, and we'll see why pawn at g3 is a mistake. So about 8 puzzles left if anyone in chat can see us home. So what's going to be the first move? That shouldn't be too hard. Ryusai has got the first 2 moves. Absolutely. We only got a pawn, so we have to somehow invade with our king. And he blocks. Okay, so we take. Now is another critical moment. We have to find the right move here. But Ryusai, you got the first move, so I'm giving you a point for that. So can anyone see? Yeah, so we got up to that. PKL also said it. Now this move is also critical. What do we do? Because we basically have 2 choices. We can't sit back or we'll likely get mated. Yeah, so the 2 choices are rook d1 or promote. And you're right, Ryusai, rook d1 is better. Why is rook d1 better? So the reason why rook d1 is better is because a rook is always going to be a rook, whereas a promoted piece could be a knight. So in a dream scenario, so let me just... So just showing you on my blog, there was... I don't want to spoil this one, that's the thing. Okay. Oh. Okay. So there was a position later on in the same game. Unfortunately, Black did not go for the mate. He instead went for defense. So in this position, he just took the bishop. So I just want to make sure I'm defended. And later he reached this position, and again he had one move which, it wasn't mating, but it was very kind of critical. And this is it. And this is what black could have done to mate, is go with the rook, and then with the queen. Now why with the queen? Because then you can promote the knight. And the idea is you then got, if the king goes to the back rank, you have discovered checks, and the knight is not controlling the rook. So that was the beauty of... so I've got these 6 images on the blog and the 6 GIFs associated. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. Okay, but the reason why rook d1 is strong is basically if he takes, we've just got another knight for our attack. Now white could block with the knight, but the danger is then we can take the knight, king takes, and then we have a knight for h3. And basically that is quite dangerous, because king goes back here, we've got knight takes pawn, king here, knight here again, king here. We could promote, and we do have enough to mate with that knight. So that's why blocking with the bishop is best. And then we do have takes and knight. And we've got a pawn, so if we ran this way, then we have stuff like pawn here and knight takes. If you ran this way, then what do we have? We have some kind of discovery, and then he runs up, probably. And then with the second rook, we're probably going to be fine. Like another rook here or something. Okay, why can't I see it? If the king runs to f1, pawn here check. If we did pawn here check. So what to do if the king runs to f1? Okay, what about knight f3? No, we only got pawns and rooks, so knight f3, king here. No, hang on. So pawn at g2. Okay, so pawn at g2, king here. Oh yeah. And then rook here. Okay, that's easy. Okay, yeah, rook at d2 is made. Okay, yeah. Of course. So he runs out here, and then we can check him again. Okay, now he's in danger. There are ideas, but he could block. But then rook here would be maybe checkmating. So you could go there, block, takes, and checkmate here. But that's going to be 1 block, 2 block, 3. So it would be, if we do 1, takes 2, takes 3, mate in 4. So can we get a mate in 3? We go rook here, check, king here. One, 2, that's still mate in 4, isn't it? Okay, rook at h3 here. Well, he does it easier, but to be honest, I'm slight. Okay, so let me just have a look at that on the analysis board. Okay, so pawn h3 here, queen here. You don't want to give away anything unnecessarily. So here. So notice if we just promote, it doesn't actually work so well. If we promote, he can just block with bishop, and we don't actually have anything. So here, taking with the knight is just trying to delay things by 1 move. This I was saying is just doesn't work because we then have knight h3 ideas. He goes back. So it says promote to queen first. suppose he does something like this. Well, we can just take it. It's just checkmate straight away. So knight h3 is completely killing. So he really can't afford to give a knight, even though it might be the slowest mate. It's also the most obviously losing. So queen takes g2, king takes g2, promote. Don't promote to queen. That's the way to get yourself mated. So the mate I was completely missing was this one. But instead, he can go here, pawn at g4, here. And what I was completely missing is, why can't we just do this? This pawn isn't even defended. Okay, that's what I was completely missing, which is why you have to go rook at h3 first to defend that pawn, and then do this, and you can block. And then you take it. Oh, yeah, there's another mate, which is knight f3 checkmate. Okay, so that's why it's mating very quickly, in fact. Okay, so yeah, king takes pawn is what I was completely missing. So hopefully we are drawing to a close. Got 7 maybe more puzzles left. Yes, okay, so we're finished with the mating puzzles, and we're just going to have a couple of defensive puzzles. So we're in check here, and obviously we don't want to take with this rook, because that might limit the number of squares we have. But you might think, just take with this rook and hide away the king. That's a really bad idea, because knight here check. Okay, you can't go knight here check, here, knight here checkmate. That's the only thing you've got to be a little bit careful about. But what about knight here check, king here? So the question is how to take this queen. And I want to take it with, yeah, you tell me. I think I see danger if I take it one way, is the point. But I'm not calculating very efficiently. So if I take the rook, I've got knight here check. And obviously king here, knight here is checkmate. So king here, knight takes bishop, pawn takes, maybe queen here straight away. King here. Yeah, so king takes. I have a few defensive puzzles on this site, but they need to be better tagged, I guess. And they're not created by the bot, so yeah. So king takes just keeps you safe because there are no knight checks. And again, if we try to dodge, we're just walking into trouble. So we take, and that's it. So just to load it up, if we take with the rook, what I'm worried about is here check, king here. Now, where's the mate? Knight takes bishop check. If we don't take it, we are in deep trouble with like a queen in there, knight here, and queen here checkmate. So we definitely do need to take it. And we're still in trouble, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously mating. I'm not necessarily finding the fastest mate. That's all. Something like pawn there check, king here, and bishop here check. So I wouldn't be surprised if I haven't found the fastest mate here. So it's mate in 6 apparently. Oh. So I did find the fastest mate. Okay, that's nice. So that's why you can't take with the rook and you have to take with the queen. And to tell you more about that puzzle, that was Fahavu against Upgoer 5. So Fahavu was white, but I'm not sure. He might have taken, no, can't remember if he took correctly or not. I think he didn't take correctly and he lost, which is why I spotted it. This is an opening trap. You might think, oh, this doesn't look like an opening. But this particular position has arrived in games on lichess at least 3 times, maybe 4 times. And in fact, white has played this exact position twice, at least. So basically, black in this position was GSVC and repeated a line which white, who was Gene Simmons, had previously lost to the lone wolf. I think I'm going to show you the full game if we have time. But it's quite important to get the mate correct in this position, because if you don't find the mate, then black is losing. And it's pretty hard to find if you haven't seen it before. So PKR, just tell us what it is. Tell us. Yes. 1 move wins. Queen c1, yes. So the point is we really want a knight on this square, and this is a good place to throw away the queen because we can pick up the rook here later. So we put the knight here, pick up the queen with check. Do we put a queen here? Check. So do we put a pawn here? Okay, so the point is, if the king ever goes here, we keep the queen for this square. So we put a pawn here and take the rook. And even at this point, this is still a good puzzle for beginners, because often even I, the first thing you think of is dump a queen on d2 check. And suddenly you find the king's running away to safety. So no, first block the escape route, and then checkmate. Such a basic theme, but coming at the end of a very nice puzzle. So with the double idea, both throwing away your pieces. So did I tag it correctly? Because it is a castaway theme as well as all the other things I said. So I'm gonna. It's the sort of theme where you check and then let's see. I don't know if that's going to work. So I'm just going to add castaway. Don't know if I've removed all the spaces. Yeah, okay. And as it says here, GSVC against Gene Simmons. Okay. So castaway is when you're throwing away a piece to make way for another piece. But this is something else. It's not only castaway. You're creating like an ammo dump. Like I want that rook for later. It's not. I'm not just throwing it away. I want that rook because I'm going to need it later for my mate. So crazy nice puzzle. And how many more remain? Is it about 4 or 5 left to go? So this is a middle game puzzle. So PKR says, I always look at rook in the corner if king is 2 squares from the corner. Yeah, it's a good pattern recognition you have then, to keep the king from running to 1 square away from the corner where it's hard to reach. Okay, so this is no longer mating ideas. In fact, all we have is a pawn in hand, and our knight is under attack. So if we're being boring, we just move our knight back. But if we're being smart, then something we can do. At d3. Excellent, PKR. You're catching up with Joanna. And the idea, of course, is the fork. And yeah, and that was a game between Colwell and Holloway. And we're definitely in the home straight now. Just like, is it 3 or 4 puzzles left? This is a game where pepellou was black and made a very wise decision, and we probably all saw it on stream. So what he recognized is that this knight and this knight are controlling a lot of squares. So if you were to move the king either here or here, bishop here would check and force the king onto the dark square, and then the second bishop will mate. So bishops here and here are checkmating black. So as I said, I think we've all seen this on stream. So what he did is he took that knight, and again, if he doesn't go here, so if, for example, he went here, then that queen is going to mate him. Queen here, check, king here, and then with the 2 bishops, let me think. So bishop here check would work. Oh yeah, just a single bishop here check would work. So queen again, it'll be queen here, bishop here will be mating. So he did the correct move, which is king to f7. Queen takes e7, king f7. So Risa 8000, well done. You know, I said it a bit too quickly. So that was another example of a nice defensive puzzle. And should be 3 to go. So okay, can anyone get this one? White to play. So that last one was pepellou against Rohan Gupta. And pepellou was on the back foot for most of that game, but he found that defensive resource, and Rohan Gupta lost his advantage within a couple of moves and got mated. So it's a fantastic couple of moves to find. So what should white do here? At e7, says PKR, trapping the queen. Yes. Nice. Free queen. And it's a trap. And this is from a board 1 game, from Gene Simmons as white against the finisher as black. But the finisher won the reverse match in a masterclass, but this match was we saw later in this game when there was ideas of when there was a knight on g8. But Gene Simmons didn't find that exact mate. In fact, the mate he found was something we discussed right at the beginning: queen takes bishop, mate in 1. So it took a while for the game to reach its conclusion, but black was losing heavily all game. And I think this is a penultimate puzzle. So this is another of those middle game little tricks. And it's in the d4, d5 London system kind of setups. It's not so obvious, but we've only got a knight in hand. So what should we do with our knight? So it's more like a positional idea. Knight at b7, says Risai. Yes. And the idea? Yeah, I think it's clear. So we're not gaining any material, but we're creating severe weakness in the dark squares in black's camp, which we'll later be able to attack after more pieces are traded off. Knight at b7, knight at d6. So Risai got it. PK said knight at g5. Yeah, that's interesting. It's sort of defensive, but this is much more powerful. And I think this should be the last one. And this is a game from PKR. PKR was black in this one, and I think PKR went on to win it. But maybe he didn't play the best. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't play the best move in this one, in this position. So white's got a knight and bishop in hand. So it's a defensive kind of puzzle. Yeah. You did make the good move. Okay, well done. That's impressive. because almost this would be tempting just to make the wrong move without thinking. And Risai says, king takes d7. Indeed. And that's it, end of puzzle. Because the point, of course, if queen takes, knight drops here, wins the queen, and I don't know, king isn't castled, and the white king is basically quite safe. So the queen is going to cost a lot in a way. And actually, king takes d7. The king is surprisingly quite happy on d7. So yeah, that was a quite impressive find. So yeah, well done PKR. How fitting that you're here at the end of this stream. You did win a very nice game. So this was Elder Bava as white against PKR 50-25. So now if I just open up Lichess studies I contribute to 0 League. So there's a slight problem with the layout here. So I think just to finish, I said I'd show you the game. Gene Simmons against GSVC. So GSVC won with now you can't see the pieces in hand, which is quite useless for the sake of Crazyhouse. So definitely we'll change that up. So I'll just quickly show you the game. So you won with the wolf defense, having spoken to Wolf before the game. The lone wolf said, "Let me show you some line that I played against Gene Simmons in the wolf defense. Why don't you play this?" So you allow e5, interesting, and then you attack that pawn, and you just go and sack on f2. Okay, so seems quite aggressive and not entirely sound, but apparently not. So you defend g7. Okay, and this is actually this is the crazy trap, because often in these kind of situations, if you play rook to g8 and you let h7 hang, this is usually a huge advantage for white. It just turns out that in this position, taking this h7 pawn is actually not a good idea, because the white king is slightly unsafe and the trade of queens is actually not good for white. You take a knight and a queen. Okay, so take a knight, and he doesn't want to trade queens, so obviously he gets the queen out of the way as fast as possible. He takes the pawn. What's the idea of that? Don't even see it. So he takes the pawn. The idea is to deflect the bishop away from d2. And then he comes with the queen to d2, and he's got the check here. And then we have this beautiful move, queen to c1. So I had analysed this game before, but I can't remember exactly. So where exactly white went wrong. But probably he first went wrong by taking this pawn here. I mean, this position here, let's just turn on the engine. It's +5 for white, so it's perfectly comfortable. But you take the pawn, it's a bit uncomfortable. You can take queens immediately, or you take here and then take here. So there was a particular trap they had, Lone Wolf had in store, which is this queen d2 invasion. Queen invasion, pawn here, and then boom. And the knight comes in and wins the queen. It's a very beautiful checkmate. So that was really nice. I'd say one other game which is also quite nice, and I'll show you just 2 more games and then I'll stop. Was the finisher as white against Gene Simmons. So poor Gene Simmons had these really nice games played against him. So yeah, often taking that knight is trouble, because the pawn on e4 is a kind of a thorn in white's position. But obviously the finisher knew what he was doing, and the bishop isn't developed yet, so he has ideas of even just sacking on f7. And he pushes. Okay, now this position. So the thing is, black hasn't developed his dark squared bishop, and there are some light square weaknesses which he's going to try and exploit. So this pawn on d5 is very. I mean, if I just look at say what does Stockfish think? Only plus 3.6, but you must play e5 maybe in this position. Okay, you need to develop quickly, certainly. So what actually happened in the game was knight a5. Okay, so getting the knight out of the way, that's a mistake. And white just piled on the pressure on the light squares. He just piles on the pressure. And this was really... Exchanges off queens. I mean, it can't be taken, but it's just all over. So that was just a very powerful game from the finisher. And yeah, good night, Rusai. I'm sorry I've gone on so long. And the very last game I want to show you before I close the stream is what I think was one of the most amazing games in the league. Rapid variance against Joanna. You can read 6 positions from this game in my blog. And I think the first point, which is interesting, is when Rapid Variance found this very interesting move, queen takes h5, sacking the queen. And the point is, bishop takes h7, this bishop is poisoned. You can't take it, or a knight comes in, check, and then you're winning the queen. Maybe even stronger is pawn at g6, takes, and then winning the queen. But the point is, black is toast in that position. So what black did in the game is correct, is sliding to one side. And this is not really clear who is winning in this position, because if once black has exchanged off more pieces, and he is going to exchange off a knight shortly, so even, I mean, and a variation might have continued like this. And it's not clear, like, it looks dangerous, but white doesn't quite have enough to attack. Yeah, so I think it's quite unclear, basically. But white went in instead of exchanging off knights, he lost a knight for a pawn, just going directly in for the attack. And bishop g6. And here, black had a very powerful move, which was just taking the bishop and dropping the queen here with check. Now, having said it was very powerful, because it's clearing away all the attackers, having said that, that queen must maintain its position. So after this move, you can't just move the queen. You need to just defend the queen and maintain your position. But okay, he missed that and instead goes for knight takes, followed by rook takes bishop. And I think the idea was he didn't want to lose his rook, because a rook might be a useful piece for white to attack with. And if white takes the rook, he was thinking maybe I can get a really good attack going with that knight, which is what he did. King e2. And in this position, it turns out, yeah, the black king is safe enough that black can just snip off this knight. There is no... This bishop is doing a great job protecting the black king. And the point is that if white takes back that bishop, there is a forced mate, bishop here. If the bishop drops back, I think we can go pawn here, and here, knight here, and pawn here is checkmate. And if he steps forward ever, knight here is checkmate. So he can never really step back. So he has to step forwards. But then we take f2, block him off, and knight here maybe. Apparently not. Well, this works as well. If king here, knight here, eventually you go to h6 and your queen invades. There may be quicker ways if he goes here. King g6, what do we do? At h7, king h6, f5. Okay, yeah, there are loads of ways of mating. So the king is toast is the point. So, but to do this move, bishop takes knight, is slightly scary because it looks like the black king might come under fire. For example, maybe a knight could hit. Maybe a knight could hit the king. And you do have to tread carefully. So, for example, he says if you go to h7, then another knight lands on f8 and you're actually completely losing. But if you go to g7 at h6, so this could be another defensive puzzle. You manage to take here. If he goes rook here, check. Oh no, that square is guarded. Okay, so but he can drop a knight here, but then the bishop can take the knight. Okay, so oh yeah, that square is double protected. Okay, so it looks really scary, but the bishops are doing a great job, and the knights were doing a great job guarding everything. So bishop takes knight was actually winning for black in this position, but instead black did this, just trying to give some extra protection for his king. Rook here, and d4 again. Bishop takes knight was good, but okay, d4 trying to open things up. He took that, which is obviously that's why the bishop is there, to stop any nonsense on his king. And now we're into this position where we just discussed just a few moments ago, and white really should have done this, and then white is completely safe. Instead, white did this, and as we saw, white gets mated in this position. But black was slightly scared about his own king's safety, so went for a defense. And his knight gets attacked. And so he wanted to promote, but this is a key position. Much better than promoting was doing this. With lots of crazy ideas, like if king here, queen here, which we saw, knight here, promote to knight, king goes back, knight takes pawn. The reason for knight takes pawn is so that the queen can come in with mate. So therefore, king goes here, you check again, and then, yeah, queen is invading in lots of these positions, and then the knight is coming in. They're back rank issues, basically. So the brilliance of rook going with the rook is that you can combine the power of the promoted knight with the rook controlling the back rank. And if he does knight takes, so you're picking up an extra knight. So you're still getting a knight and a rook on the back rank. Now it turns out, after rook here, there is a defense for white, so we can't get caught a mating puzzle. But the only defense for white is as follows. Give away a rook, so that stops him promoting to knight immediately. Kind of delays his attack. King here. You drop your second rook here, and white black's kind of out of attackers. So the white king runs out to e4, but black doesn't really have any attackers. And I discussed this actually in a separate chapter of this study, because I think it's quite possible the white king does get mated anyway. I mean, after all, it's on e4. If it ever tries to run back, it has a pawn about to promote to deal with. So even though black has no pieces, this is quite scary. Having said that, if you just turn on the engine, it will say black slightly winning, maybe. Rook takes g3 being the best move. Okay, since we're here, why not just run through? So all other moves do get mated, but they're all long mating sequences. Let's just run through maybe the best line. The kind of line, I mean, it is just a computer line, so you could say you don't learn anything from it, but let's just have a look. So we take the pawn, he goes on a counterattack. Okay, why does he do that? He does that because he wants... So if bishop takes, white is going to have stuff. Okay, so it isn't something completely clear, but it's basically he's going to have this square if bishop takes. So he does this, check, queen takes, knight takes queen. Okay, so white gets to pick up a queen. Black gets a pawn and a rook. Okay, this king goes for a runner. So defensive move picking up the knight. Okay, but then white gets a second queen. Okay, so it's a bit scary. White's got a king, which is not very nice, but he's got two queens. So this is just the line why this isn't quite mating for black, but maybe it is mating eventually. But this is far too long a variation to say that this is definitely mating. In fact, it all comes down to, this whole long sequence comes down to this. White looks like he's going to get mated, but black has this brilliant move, rook at g7, and white's attack, despite having two queens, is killed. And it's just such a minor thing. If white defended with knight at g7, then pawn here, takes, knight here, bishop here, rook on the back rank, and queen there's checkmate. Such a minor thing, and that's about 20 moves deep into the line. But anyway, back to the crazy game indeed, as PKR said. But black made a mistake by not leaving the option of promoting to the knight. That's the beauty of that. and he promoted to queen directly, and he doesn't have the right pieces to get in on the white position. So he's just defending. And now, after this move, in fact, it's white who has mate. And this position is actually on my blog. Can anyone guess the move for white to mate in this position? No, I'm kind of pointing at it. Okay, I mean the idea is, oof. He played this, but there is a mating idea which was knight at f7. It's actually a very powerful idea because you basically absolutely cannot take it. Yeah, so if you take it, I'm wondering whether to go with the rook or the knight. Sorry, the rook or the queen. I think rook is good enough, apparently. No, queen is better. Okay. Mate in 6 even. Yeah. This is easy. So check. So if we go directly here, we're losing the queen as check. So we better go here. Check. Go here. So this is actually very simple. And we can see this is going to be mate. Because if he takes, we have back rank issues. So we check here, whichever way he goes. So he might go here to cover g8, but he's still got this mate to deal with. So he really can't take that knight. So he has to go here, but then there's knight here, check, takes, just deflecting the bishop, and then a rook here takes. Now, the fastest mate is something like this. What happens after rook at h7? After 35, rook at h7. Okay. Oh, yeah, instead of knight, So what I'm slightly worried about with rook at h7 is, can he just dodge with king g8? Yeah, so it's not as straightforward because there is a dodge. Now, it's probably still mating, but yeah, it's still mating. Rook at g8 takes. And then, so it's a little bit more complicated. So you deflect the bishop, and then if king takes rook, we have knight at g5, picking up the queen with check if you ever take the knight. So you probably do this, but then if you do this, we're picking up the queen with check as well. So queen at f8. We've got so many queens here. So, oops, that's a mouse slip. Okay, so it's all over. Queen here. But so that's what happens. Yeah, we have to take that, and if we take here, crazy thing is knight g5 check. You can't take the knight or we're losing the queen with check, so that would be very bad. So we do this. No, I don't see it. Okay, so I think that the threat is queen here mate. That's why we can afford to do this. Because if he takes it, queen here check, king here, and queen here is checkmate, right? Yes. So the bishop is cutting off the king. But okay, so queen at h8 is just a bit more efficient. So we were looking at knight f7, queen takes knight, queen at h8, but just because we can finish it off easily. But obviously he doesn't take that. So that knight is poisoned, so he just runs. And then, as I said, the quickest mate is in fact this very confusing move, pawn at e6. And the idea is if you take the pawn with the king, then we're landing a queen on e5, and that's not looking healthy because our back rank is also kind of oh, he can even just do this. It's just rook at e5, king here, queen takes pawn. Okay, so it's just trouble basically. If he takes with the king, it's trouble. But if he takes with the queen, notice how the queen and pawn are creating a little box for the king. Ah, I see. Okay. Well, we'll look at that in a second. I just want to just quickly show you this mate kind of. Is it queen here? I like this one. Queen here check, because the king is in a box and we're going to just simply drop here and exchange off queens. So this is a very boring mate in a way. Like nothing exciting about this mate. But so this is how you could mate with knight at f7, pawn at e6. This finish, to be honest, is really boring. Rook at h7 immediately. Rook at h7 immediately. So you want queen takes and then knight at f7. King here. Okay, so, and it's trying to think how to continue. And it wants rook at h8, bishop takes, knight here. That's what it wants. But the problem is he has queen takes. And that's why it's a headache. So what else? In the meantime, we're white-black's threatening mate, so we have to do something fast. So you meant something else, or? Rook at h7, you're saying rook at h7 is mating also. Okay, so if queen takes rook, I guess this is the key, what move we do here. And if it is mating, it is a crazy move I wasn't thinking of. It's saying stuff like rook at g8. Queen at g8 even. Like, yeah, so it is mating, but my goodness. This is really weird. So if queen takes g8, we're getting knight at g6 in, apparently. King h7, knight at g5. That's the idea. And if king takes, we've got f7, king takes pawn, knight at g5. So we're just mating just because we have enough. Yeah, just throw in bishop at c6 just to make it quicker. Okay. Queen at g8. Okay, yeah, that's hard to see. Hard to spot. I guess the idea is get the queen as inactive as possible, kind of thing. But okay, so these are all quite ugly. But I would like to recommend, and this is what I made a GIF on my blog, I'd like to recommend this line. Rook at c8. And this is thinking ahead. We're stopping the king from running to b8 in the long term. Check, and as we said, we can't take it for the reasons we said before. We check with the queen, and I'd like to recommend checking with the knight now. Now blocking off so the king can't run further. Can't run here because for sure something bad is going to happen if he just keeps on running up. King f5, king d4. So if king f5, we just got a pawn check. If king to d4, just rook here will be checkmate. Okay, so that's all rather straightforward. So he will have to run, sorry, he will have to block, and now's the key. Yeah. And now is the key. Rook at f6. So what we're doing with this move is we're stopping the king running back to this half of the board, because we're creating a blocker on this square. At the moment the queen is controlling the square, but we want to take this rook, but we're worried about the king running back to this side of the board. So we're creating a blocker. If queen takes also, we could just take that queen, it turns out. And yeah, if king takes, queen here is checkmate. And if pawn takes, then we want to guard the escape route. So queen here won't work. What's going to work? Oh, queen here does work, because the rook is pinned. So queen here is just checkmate. So he can't take with the queen for that reason. So he takes with the pawn, and the whole point of that was to create a blocker. And now we take the rook with check, and the king can't run to this side of the board. I mean, if he runs here, like we said, it's well, that's in the line of the check, but he can't run here, and this has been blocked off. So he has to run here, check. He has to run here, and now we picked up a rook, so this is checkmate. So this I'd say is not a computer line. I feel like this is a very beautiful and easy to calculate line, and I mean, hard to come up with for sure, but quite beautiful, and I turned that into a GIF on my blog. In fact, there's 6 GIFs on my blog for the 6 positions in this game, which I thought were really interesting. So that was a missed mate for white, because instead white attacked that queen. And then what black did? King g2, white did king f1. And it turned out Schwanet, who was black, was playing on a trackpad or something. And this position is just way too complicated. So although it's kind of level, he just lost on time just because it was just too complicated. And everyone knows how strong Schwanet is and how fast Schwanet is. But yeah, because this is a slow time control, 5+5 time control, yeah, he spent 8 seconds on this move, and it's just very hard. He should have just taken the knight, and yeah, maybe white still has. It's just very confusing. Very confusing, but it was. I think it was a great game, and yeah, do check out the blog. I don't. Not sure what if I go CWC, what does that do? Just out of interest. Doesn't do anything nowadays. Okay. If I go ZH, I'm just don't even know my own commands. But okay, blog will definitely take you to the blog. And yeah, do check out my YouTube. For those who don't know, I've got lots of stuff, lots of Crazyhouse stuff, and some standard chess stuff. And I actually did a stream on the Philidor defense in standard chess, which is so if you Google on YouTube for something called chess meal, then you'll find a video I did for them on the Philidor defense, and that's like the first in a 3-part series, just for fun. Okay, yeah, I think this will serve. I think this one game serves as a great recap of season 5 of the Crazyhouse League. Congratulations, of course, to the winners who were led by Rapid Variants in Team Z Horo. Thanks PKR for joining. Thanks everyone else for joining. And as for the quiz, as for the puzzle competition, yeah, Rusai I think ended up winning that with 25. Safely got 13. Who else got some points? PKR got 5 points just joining in at the end. Catask got 4. Nobody also got a few, but obviously Catask and Nobody's got a lot more than because they were trying to give other people a chance. Then there were others. Dachat. I can't quite work out what Dachatwitch. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that name. He also got 4. Forgot to say Sefa got 7. Congratulations to him. BobbyFischer got 4. Conscious 11 got 1. Joanna got 4, and oktested got 2. So yeah, how many people altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe even 15 people who are quite actively joining us in solving these puzzles. So really, thank you to all of you guys for joining in, and have fun with Crazyhouse, and have a good summer. I probably won't be streaming much over the coming weeks, but yeah, I'll still be playing. So catch you all next time.